How's everyone doing today? Welcome to the Pokeball YouTube channel. I'm Dan Spielvogel checking in. And today I'm going to talk about a sleeper team in the NHL that can make a Stanley Cup playoff run. And before I reveal who that team is, I'm going to tell you what their odds are. And I'm going to also narrow it down too. So this team has the 11th best odds currently to win the Stanley Cup. And their odds to win the cup is at plus 1600. So 10 other teams have a higher probability of winning the Stanley Cup than this team that I'm about to mention. To win their respective conference, this team has the sixth best odds at plus 750 to win their conference and make it to the Stanley Cup final. So before I start to narrow it down, if you have not already, like and subscribe to the Pokeball YouTube channel. It's Pokeball. Okay, so let's go in more in depth and narrow it down. All right, did this team win the President's Trophy this year? The answer is no. So they are not cursed. Sorry, New York Rangers fans, you guys are cursed this year. You might lose in the first round. And then you have, is this team from Canada? And the answer actually is yes. This team actually is from Canada this year. So the Canada curse can actually legit be broken this year. In fact, the last time a team from Canada won the Stanley Cup was 1993. So now, since we've narrowed it down quite a bit to now a non-American team, we have quite a few options, right? And none of these Canadian teams won the President's Trophy this year. So are you going to say, like, oh, is it the Edmonton Oilers? And the answer is no, it's not the Edmonton Oilers. Yes, I know they have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman, all those big-time goal scorers, but they don't have that low of odds of winning the cup. So it can't be them. What about the Toronto Maple Leafs? And the answer is no again. The Maple Leafs actually have higher odds than this team as well. So is not the Maple Leafs, and they do have dynamic goal scorers like Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and all those guys. But they're not winning the cup either because they are cursed themselves. And then you have, is it the Vancouver Canucks? And the answer is no. The Vancouver Canucks have had a great year, and nothing against them. But I just think they don't have enough playoff experience. Even though they do have JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes had a breakout year and they have decent goaltending too. But I just think that there's one team in the state in the country of Canada that is better, and that answer, and you guessed it, is the Winnipeg Jets. And I want to tell you why the Winnipeg Jets, with that value, can be a very good value pick to win the Stanley Cup. And we're going to start it off. The reason why the Winnipeg Jets can win the Stanley Cup is because of their elite goaltending. You look at Connor Hellebuyck, who is the hands-on favorite to win the Vezina Trophy for best goaltender in the league. He has the highest save percentage in the NHL. He's at 92%, over 92% in save percentage. And also their backup, Laurent Brossoit, has a lot of playoff experience as well. And he also has a 92% save percentage. He has been elite in backup duties. So no matter what goalie the Jets throw out in net, they have a great chance of winning due to those two being so solid in net. And they also are tied for the NHL lead with the Panthers and Hurricanes for most shutouts in the NHL with 8. And yep, they have 8 shutouts. They have the highest save percentage in the NHL. They also allow the fewest goals per game in the NHL. They allow 2.41 goals per game, which is the lowest in the entire league. So, and another reason that the Jets can win the Stanley Cup is because of they're peaking at the right time. They are heading in the month of April. The Winnipeg Jets have won all 6 of their games up to this point. In those 6 games, the Jets have outscored their opponents 27-10. And their last 2 games against the Stars and Avalanche, their top 2 division opponents, they outscored them 10-0 combined. They shut out both of them. And both goalies recorded a shutout in those games. And yes, they beat the hell out of the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday, 7-0. That really started to turn heads. That this Winnipeg Jets team is legit, and you need to watch out for this team. And so yeah, they outscored their last six opponents 27-10, and they beat teams like Nashville, LA. They beat Dallas and Colorado in that stretch of games. And they're peaking at the right time. At the end of March, they had a 6-game losing streak. So it felt like the Jets were kind of down, and it felt like they're kind of going to be disappointing. But then they've started to pick it up once the calendar month turned to April, and they have really started to turn up and play elite level hockey. Another stat that I want to share with you is that the magic number for the Jets is 4. If the Jets score 4 or more goals, they are undefeated, 33-0 when they score 4 or more goals in a game this season. They have not lost a game when they score 4 or more goals. And in their last 6 games, they've scored 3 or more in all 6 of them, and 5 of them have been 4 or more. So they are really clicking at the right time, and they have a very favorable draw in the first round at least. You get the Colorado Avalanche, who the Jets have beaten all 3 times, and by a combined score of 17-4. They have blitzed whoever has been in goal for Colorado and really exploited their weakness, which is really subpar goaltending, whether it's Alex Georgiev or one of their backup goalies. And the Jets have just somehow seemed to click against the Avalanche, and they can absolutely easily probably sweep the Avs in the first round. So that's a very, very favorable matchup that they have. Another reason why the Jets can win the cup is because they play well against good teams this year. Against the top 7 teams in terms of points, you have the Rangers, you have the Bruins, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, the Canucks, the Stars, and the Avalanche. Okay? The Winnipeg Jets against those 7 teams, they are 11-5 and 1 overtime loss against them. That's almost a 65% winning percentage, which is the best in the NHL. They've proven that they can beat the best of the best in the league. And I feel like if they can get by the first couple rounds, I think the Jets can really make a deep run and probably get into the Stanley Cup and possibly win it. Because this team is really good. And another reason why that they can win the cup is that they're very disciplined. They don't take many penalties. In fact, they're a top 10 in fewest penalty minutes. And their special teams is not very great. They're kind of middle of the pack in terms of power play and penalty kill. And their offense is kind of middle of the pack as well. They only score about 3 goals a game, which is fine as long as you have an elite defense, and that is what the Winnipeg Jets have, an elite defense. And then my final reason why they can win the cup is because they don't have that 100-point scorer that most of these other teams have. They are so balanced. In fact, their leading point getter was Mark Scheifele, and he only has 70 points. And Josh Morrissey has 67, and he's an elite defenseman. And then you have these moves that they made at the trade deadline to get Tyler Toffoli from the Devils. You get Sean Monahan as well. So make these moves that really bolster this offense. And now Kyle Connor's fully healthy. He's their leading goal scorer. And you have these younger guys like Cole Perfetti, Gabe Velarde that have had some really good moments this year. And the Jets can really sneak up on teams and really give them a scare and make a deep run. And I'm saying that the Jets can really break the Canada curse due to this elite goaltending, playing well at the right time, and just doing well against great teams this year. And I think the Jets, even though they've had a lot of struggles as a franchise, especially in the playoffs, they've never made a Stanley Cup final. They've never made a conference championship. They actually made one conference championship in 2017, but they have not won it. They've never made a Stanley Cup final. They've never won their division, and they did get second this year in their division, which is the best that they finished in a division race. But and also those Winnipeg Whiteouts, don't forget those Winnipeg Whiteouts is a really huge home ice advantage that the Jets have as well. So that playoff atmosphere is going to be electric. And I got the Winnipeg Jets at plus 1750 and now at plus 1600. I made a bet on them a few days ago last week to at plus 1750, and then I bet on them to win the West at plus 750, which is extremely good value. So this is Dan Spielvogel checking out on, and I will fill out my NHL bracket later this week. Take care, guys.